We got a new show alert, y'all, and I'm excited for it. It is the K9 Academy. Miss Whitney, you train dogs for a living. So how long have you been training? And
I've been in dogs all my life. My mom has bred golden retrievers since I was 6 years old. In fact, it's funny because, like my friends will reference Disney movies and stuff because I was the little kid that was watching dog documentaries, wasn't watching Disney movies, because I've just been into dogs my whole life.
Give your dog the best start possible. We offer proven tools, products, and supplements backed by our real-world experience and our passion for healthy dogs.
Welcome to NWA Cane Corsos Podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
And they make me the underdog. I'm gonna show them all they're wrong because I'm the champion. I'm the real champion. There'll never be one like me.
We are gathered here today. What's up, Miss Whitney? Hey, Miss Pam. I'm glad to have you guys here.
Howdy, guys.
Yes. We got a new show alert, y'all, and I'm excited for it. It is the K9 Academy. Let me just start out with Miss Whitney. Would you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm a family pet dog trainer in Ohio, and I train dogs of all breeds, specialized in anxiety and aggression rehab for most of my career. But we do happy-go-lucky puppies. We do severe anxiety cases. Just this year, I retired out of doing human aggression. We can get into that at some point if you want to, but I have my reasons for getting out of that. And I've been doing that for about 12 years this summer. Yeah, that's kind of my story.
Cool.
In a nutshell. In a little nutshell.
All right. Miss Pam, what's going on, friend?
Not much. How are you?
I'm in it to win it. Yes, sir.
That's the only way to be.
That's it. We're on the same mission here.
Yeah. So if you guys ever hear about a dog named Baymax, this is the owner, Miss Pam. Miss Pam, tell them about yourself.
All right. Pam Grushak. I am just a new Corso owner. That's me. And how is Pam talking about Corso? Well, I have one. So I love him very much. And Whitney and I kind of got to meet through Tony. That's what we'll talk about a little bit here. And we just loved the dog and loved the breed. And we had so much to talk about. I am, I guess, a dog training enthusiast and a new dog owner. And the way I do things is all in. And when I love it, I love it and in it to win it. Right.
Yeah.
So, yep. That's how I'm here. I'm just your average dog owner wanting to do the best I can, learn everything I can. And I just became obsessed with the breed. And I never had anywhere to go to learn about, the breed itself. And that's how Whitney and I kind of came about. Yeah, we had so many conversations. We thought, other people need to hear this stuff. Like we're not the only ones talking about this,
Right.
And I didn't have anywhere to go when I first started, trying to learn for Baymax and just to really make sure that I, again, just created the right environment, became the right owner, did everything that I could to do good for him.
Right. Well, we know just by observing you that you don't have to wait, dude. You go all the way in. And that's the new trend too, like which is actually pretty cool, that a lot of pet owners are actually documenting their journeys with dogs now, and like I got dogs more famous than my kennel. I got a dog named Shockeye bred in Florida, and one in South Arkansas named Trump. I think he went to the academy you were just talking about, but we'll get into that. So yeah, ladies, I'm glad y'all here.
Thanks for having us.
I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah.
happy to be here. So
Oh,
fun and honored.
Oh yeah, cool. It's a crazy place, but y'all fit right in. If you're a Corso person, you going to fit right in here. So look here, the K9 Academy. That's the new show you guys got, right?
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much you, Miss Whitney, and Pam together, right?
Yeah.
And then y'all got a sub show, which y'all did something unthinkable. Y'all made history, where y'all actually got Tony Scandi of Scandifio Cane Corsos.
Can you believe that?
Man, that's nuts.
It took some work, but we got it done.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy, but about time somebody of his statue come forth, because people been clamoring for it.
Yeah.
People just want to hear from guys like him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So how's the setup of that show? What's the schedule going to be? What can we expect? What kind of information we're going to see?
Yeah, Whitney, you can talk about that, because Whitney organizes the schedule kind of stuff, and I'm just the fire behind it, and that's I'm just like, let's go, let's get Tony on, Tony, let's so that's me, and she's more like getting us together schedule wise. So you go ahead and tell them what the schedule is supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an overthinker, and Pam helps me to let's go. So we work well together that way. So I think how we want to organize the shows going forward is we'd love to nail Tony down at least to one episode a month, and he is game. He is here for it. So that's exciting. So we'd like to have him for at least one episode a month. If we can get him for 2 or 3, awesome. But if not, we'd like to do one episode with Tony, say the beginning of the month, and Pam and I, and we'll talk about just different training things that could help average dog owners. And then we'll have a guest on, maybe somebody like yourself, if you'd like to come back to our show, have a guest on, and then, end of the month off with Pam and I just going over some more training stuff. But again, we'll take Tony as much as he'll be on with us.
Oh, good. Okay, that sounds good. And yeah, guys, I was just on that show. I'll link it in the description so y'all can go watch it. It was fun. It was really fun, and the energy, everything's genuine.
Yeah,
and you could tell. You know what I mean? So yeah. So Miss Pam, how did you get into the Corso, and how's your journey been so far?
Well, like so many other people, I mean, maybe so many other people, I wanted a Corso for a really long time. And again, like I do, I wanted to make sure I did it as well as possible. So I waited a long time. I would say like 5 or 6 years, got a Corso. I had one that is not Baymax, and she didn't work out well for me. I did a lot of research, what I thought, what was out there. And that's part of what we're talking about today too, is stuff's not out there. I did my best job, found a puppy, got her, brought her home, figured out she wasn't the right puppy for us. I did enough research, I guess, to find an ethical breeder. He stood behind the puppy, took the puppy back. In fact, gave me my money back. And I didn't know how any of that worked, because I never imagined I would ever take a puppy back. But I did know enough to find a breeder that stood behind the dog. And she didn't work out, took her back. And I thought, I don't know, maybe a Corso is not for me. If they're all like this, I don't really think that a Corso is for me. But I'm just kept thinking, I'm real faithful. So I'm praying, I don't know, should I get a Corso? Like, why is this on my heart so bad? Why do I want this dog so bad? And it wasn't like the forbidden fruit either, because Whitney and I talk about that sometimes too, because people see these dogs and people are like, oh, Corso's not for everybody. And they're not. We can talk about that too. But it wasn't that. There was something about, I just loved them so much. And so I went to dog shows, and I wanted to look at other breeds, and I thought, I still really want a Corso. So I gave it one more shot. I randomly came about Tony Scandi on Facebook, and I had kind of heard his name. I'll tell you, a lot of people gatekeep his name, and they don't want to tell you his name. And I found his name And I actually just messaged him. He called me right away. We talked for probably 2 hours the very first time I talked to him. And I thought, that's my guy. And I immediately clicked with him. And he, I kind of told the story a little bit before. He kind of said, I don't need to sell you a puppy. But I said, tell me everything I need to know. And we worked out, and he, found me my puppy, and that's Baymax. So it took about, I would say, maybe 4 or 5 months, maybe a little longer, to actually get Baymax from Tony, the right puppy for us, because I gave him full reign. And when I trust somebody, I said, here, you pick the puppy for me. This is my family. This is what we want. If I should not have a Corso, I'm okay with that answer too. But I feel like you're the person to tell me that, if so, and he's like, nope, pick the right puppy for me. And here's Baymax. He even called me the day before he went to go pick him up, because he was a pick puppy. And he said, do you want me to FaceTime you just so you can, see the other puppies? I said, nope, don't even want to see them. Just give me the one you think I should have. And there's Baymax.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yep. And that's how I got Baymax. And then again, there was just so much information that wasn't out there for me to find. And I kept telling Tony the whole journey, because I have a podcast too, like fitness stuff. And I kept telling him, like, man, there's got to be a hub for like where people can find you. Like, this is the information. When I was in fitness training, I remember finding my coach. Long story short, I found him through a magazine back in the 90s. and I messaged him, dial up AOL, and I said, hey, I found out you were this person's coach. She was a cover model on one of the fitness magazines. I said, I want to look like her. Do you think her camp is good? And he had one answer, and it was one sentence. And he said, do you want to go to the student or the teacher? And I was like, okay, you're my coach. Sign me up. And that's how I felt Tony was. And I'm like, this is the teacher. He's not the student.
Yeah.
And I thought, gosh, we gotta be able to get you out there. And then that's kind of how this kind of started rolling with me during my waiting and anticipation to getting Baymax. I just kept thinking, what's the answer to this? I don't want to bug Tony for something small. Like, what should I feed him? Like, I didn't want to bother him for these little questions. And I thought there's got to be a space where other people can talk about, what Tony might say or something like that. So that's kind of,
Gotcha. Tony is a big name. So, when you talk about gatekeeping, his name is so huge. Like, if being a small time breed I am, if Tony's over there, I go on the other side of the street and do my thing.
Yeah.
It's not even fair. Even down here where I live, even my cousin La Potenza, it's the same effect. He's like, just go over there.
Yeah.
But so Ms. Whitney, you train dogs for a living.
Yeah.
Where are you based out of?
I'm in Ohio. I'm about an hour and 5 minutes from Tony's.
Okay, so how long have you been training, and what has that journey been like?
I've been in dogs all my life. My mom is bred golden retriever since I was 6 years old.
Oh, okay.
My grandpa bred bird dogs, and my aunt bred Rottweilers.
Oh,
So
Lord,
I'm just a homeschooled kid who grew up with a pack of dogs.
Right.
And I've always been real into dogs. And in fact, it's funny because, like my friends will reference Disney movies and stuff, and I'll just be like looking totally lost. And they'll be like, you never saw that movie, did you? I'm like, no, because I was the little kid that was watching dog documentaries when I was 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. I wasn't watching Disney movies, because I've just been into dogs my whole life. My mom jokes around and says, you were born with a leash in your hand. She's like, this stuff for me is like, it's just like what I do. I just love dogs. And thankfully my family immersed me in dogs all my life. It just was my life. And so when I was about 12 years old, my mom wanted me to start working with a professional dog trainer. And so I started taking, like I said, my mom bred golden retrievers all my life. So I had a pack of dogs. She always had about 12 my whole life. And so she said, I want you to work with a professional dog trainer and start training these dogs. And I did that when I was 12. And I worked with him from age 12 clear up to, I think I was like, until I started NWA Cane. So early 20s. And he retired from doing it and mentored me all those years. and we just became friends, and I hung out with him, and he showed me a lot of stuff, and he said, I want you to do this. And I'm like, I don't know, because I knew I could do the dogs. I said, I don't know if I can do the people. People need trained. I don't know if I got the people part down, but I know I can do the dogs. And he said, you'll learn. And I think you need to do this. So he pushed me to do it. And then he retired in May of 2013. And NWA was born of June of 2013. And we've been rolling ever since. We've been about 3,000 dogs in at this point, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Been having lots of fun with it. And I hope I've been able to help a lot of people.
I bet you have. The Ohio.
Yeah.
That's a different place when it comes to animals, period. I mean, I can only imagine how many Corso.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got to be.
And that's a thing too. So, kind of how I got hooked up with Tony is my Malinois was getting older, and I did bite work with him and stuff. And I always, disclaimer, I don't do any of that type of stuff professionally at all. I just do it with my own dogs. So, but my Malinois, I worked with him on bite work and whatnot. And I wanted to retire him out. He's getting older. And I thought, I don't want to do another Malinois. I love the breed, but, I want something that has the ability to chill out just a little bit more than a Mal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm friends and one of my colleagues and friends, and I'll say Eric Stambro, great guy, huge in the police canine world. He happens to be a colleague of mine, friend of mine. And so when I said, I don't think I want to do another Mal, I'm going to call Eric and I'm going to talk to him. What can I get that's going to be, something where I'm not going to lose a lot of workability, but also has an off switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking to Eric, and he said, get him out, or get a Corso. And I said, you see the Corsos going through, your place? Because they have to be different than what's coming through my place. Like Corsos coming through my training center, I don't want nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, I'm telling you, get a Corso. And I said, are you kidding me? And he said, yeah. And I said, then you give me the name of the best Corso breeder that I can get a Corso from. Because I trust Eric's a friend of mine. I trust him, right? So he said, I'm telling you, if you get a Corso from Tony Scandi, you'll be happy. I said, okay, I'm trusting you. And I called Tony up. And again, I kind of mentioned this on one of our episodes. I'm talking to him, telling him about everything I want in the dogs. And, I'm like, I can get you a deposit or anything like that, because I trusted him because my friend Eric trusted him. My friend Eric is, he didn't fall off the chicken truck. If he said Tony Scandi's the best, then Tony Scandi's the best. And Tony's like, no, I don't want no deposit, none of that. I want your feet on my kennel. And I'm like, no, I trust you. My friend Eric sent me. Tony goes, nope, you got to come to my kennel. And it's interesting because all of my dealings with Tony have been so genuine, so sincere, honest. He told me so many things and educated me so much on the breed. And it wasn't until months after I had all these face-to-face dealings with Tony, standing in his kennel, standing on his yard, on the phone, that I kind of started stumbling across what people were saying about him. And I'm like, this is not are you kidding me? This ain't the guy I know. And so then I took a deeper dive in it, and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
There's some people after this guy, and it's so crazy.
Yeah, boy. Yeah,
it's
I
so
got him after me too.
I'm like, I'm standing face to, like you said, just where you're like, well, I just left the guy's kennel, and you got somebody saying it's 10 miles down the road, and it's like, and that's kind of what I saw. But I didn't really even deep dive into Tony before that, just because I got one of the highest recommendations, so I just knew he was great. But then afterwards, I'm like, this ain't matching up,
Right. And sometimes, and he said out, like I was on your podcast, and he said kind of like, he always gonna be straight, be cordial, be nice to people, and then until you started making it funny, then you go get the other side.
Right. Yeah.
which is kind of like me too. When he said that, I was like, oh my God, he's telling people, but if you watch my show enough, it's been times I kind of got like, I had to, sometimes you got to do it because people just get out of hand.
Yeah.
But Pam was talking about her experience with the puppy, and you said something about your experiences as a trainer of what you were seeing. What do you guys, from your perspective, account and even me? I kind of went out of I didn't really have to. When it comes to Corso, I don't have to go far. Like my cousin's down the road, and he mentored under Tony.
Yeah.
He's almost 30 years in the game.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on the show too. I'd love to have the opportunity to talk to him.
Yeah. So when I went out of my my little circle, my little comfort zone, I kind of got burnt on a dog with bad temperament, fear issues, and things like that. But what do you count mostly for you, Whitney, seeing that type of bad temperament, and Pam, just from a new perspective, what do you see the issue with that happening to all three of us?
Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So what do you mean? Like
towards people having trouble finding good dogs or dogs with issues. I don't know.
Mean like how's it? What do you mean? Like what the why can't we find good dogs? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think that just has to go with, like anything else, I guess there's a little more demand for it, and people, in my very uneducated experience, just seeing, firsthand a puppy that, the breeder probably bred a few times and, different litters. And, I just think that I want to think that people mean well. I like to look at the glass half full and think, everybody, like Whitney always says, and like me too, you can't have your first Corso without your first Corso, because there's a lot of, noise of saying, oh, you can't have a first Corso, like don't get a Corso if you're a first time Corso owner. How can you be a first time Corso owner if you're not a first time Corso owner?
Right.
And so for me, I want to think that people mean well, but I just feel that people rush into things. They don't understand, from outside perspective, they kind of aren't in it. So, hey, I want to better the breed and I want to learn as much as I can. They almost just kind of jump the gun and see what all of these other people with experience are doing and think I could do that. Like I can do better than that. When really you want to, like you said, you want to become a student and you have to, have your first litter and your first dog and your first, your desire. But I feel that people are just seeing it. It's a quick money. People are paying a lot of money for these dogs. And, and for me, I just feel like that. And they prey on these people that see the dogs on social media. And that's why I'm always very careful to make sure that I talk about my dog. Baymax is a Scandifio Corso, and I'm happy to talk about, where I got him from, for that reason, just to hopefully save other people the headache too. But that would seem, I think that's my reason, or what I see is it's just a lot of money people see. They think, how hard can it actually be? I really feel like people think that. How hard can it actually be? I have these two dogs. They can make babies. I can make some money, and then people have puppies and then they'll be happy, and I feel like that's just kind of the general, everyday person that might go into that thinking, when it's so much more in depth than that,
Yeah.
Right. So Whitney, to you, do you feel like it's just hard to find the breeders who have good dogs out there? Just, you can't see them because of all the noise. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Big reason why I'm here and why I want to do the podcast and why I want to showcase Tony and that kind of stuff is because I really think that average dog owners don't know how to cut through the noise. So they see, oh, this person on TikTok has, thousands and thousands of followers. They must be good, right? And I'm here for the average dog owner. I'm here for the first time Corso owners. I'm here for the people who goes, I love the breed, I admire the breed. I don't know a lot about them, but I'm here. I want to learn. I'm here for those people so that we can start to give, brick by brick instruction to kind of help them to see, maybe steer away from this, maybe lean more towards into this, right?
Mhm.
Because what I'm seeing when I'm having folks bring me dogs, of every breed, by the way, of every breed, but
Mhm.
Corsos, it's like they have no clue what they're looking for. And then what happens, and this is where I get a little bit burnt out as a dog trainer, and one of the reasons I've stopped doing human aggression, is because a lot of these things you can't fix. Like, that's the genetics of the dog. So when you bring me this dog at 6 months old, 6 years old, doesn't matter. The genetics are the genetics, and only dog training can modify behaviors, change some little associations. But at the end of the day, you got the dog you got.
Yeah.
And I think your average dog owner doesn't realize that. So it's kind of like, to Pam's point, is like, you have, folks, they put two dogs together, and your average dog owner really doesn't know. They're like cute puppy, or they're like shy puppy, right? Oh, well, he was shy, and they don't realize that dog may never snap out of that being shy. They're like, or they call the dog trainer a week later or whatever, and then the dog shows up here, and I'm like, ugh. Like, now I gotta sit down and have a hard conversation with these owners to say, this is the dog you have, So I think misinformation is a big one. I think there's a lot of lies. Tony talks about that a lot. There's a lot of lies where you'll have somebody, they're breeding dogs, and they're like, oh, that's just what a Corso is. Corsos are just, they're tough dogs. Yeah, they are tough dogs. They're tough dogs. That's an unhinged dog.
Yeah.
That's a caged animal, right? That's a liability.
Right.
They won't use those words. And so the average dog owner goes, yeah, Corsos are tough. And it's like, well, we're looking at mental instability here. And we're looking at, no, like you guys talk about, like, don't mess with me. That's stability, And I think what Pam and I really want to do with our show is help the average dog owner. Everybody's, dog trainers, there's so many egos in the dog world, right?
Yeah.
And dog trainers, right? In my world, right? It's like always like, well, you use an e-collar, you don't use an e-collar, you only use food. Why are you using the clicker? There's so many egos.
Yeah.
And again, your average dog owner is trying to swim and wade through all that and say, who's right? Right? And that's not me saying I'm right. I'm just saying, like, we have to start putting out some information to help owners. This is a phrase I like to use a lot. Help owners critically think. Is what you're hearing on the internet, when you really critically think about it, when you really break it down, is what you're hearing on the internet, is it something that really makes sense to you? And if so, run with it. If not, run away from it.
Yeah. Being that you're don't get in trouble.
What?
Don't get in trouble now. But like, being that you since we talking about the Corso mainly, but I know you work with a lot of dogs. I bet you when you're talking about breeding, you're talking about traits. That's what breeding is about.
Yeah.
This is a yes or no question. I'll keep you safe.
Okay.
But do you see?
I'm not afraid.
Yeah, when you see issues like temperament issues, I don't know. Do you check the lines, and do you see a certain pattern in certain lines of dogs, of Corsos per se, or do you even look at that?
I look at it if the owner has been provided with it.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, most of the time I'll say, when I get a Corso in, I ask the owner, hey, can you bring me a copy of the pedigree? Can you get the sire and dam's names? Would love to look at your pedigree. 9 times out of 10, they have no clue who the sire and dam is.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
And sometimes if they do, they really don't know what to look for. It's just
they wouldn't know what
paper. And
that's true. And a lot of times people just want paperwork on their dog, but it get put up. They never look at it. They might lose it.
Yeah.
They just want to know that, it's AKC dog. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is something I'm kind of piggybacking on that show I did with y'all over on y'all end, but the modern day dog, right? Like on my show, I have a lot of people that come on. I got a guy named Brad Sneed. He's a Dogo Argentino breeder. He's a hog hunter. I mean, he's a real deal.
Mhm.
And but he
I
actually,
love it. I love dogos, by the way. I used to
oh
want
really?
one of those when I was a little girl. That was like everybody wants like a collie. I'm like, I
Yeah,
want a Dogo Argentino.
right. Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
that was the dog of my dreams when I was little. Yeah.
Dogo, hey. This man, if look him up, but this dude, he get paid to exterminate hogs down here in our area because they're nuisances in certain areas, tear up a lot of crops and other things. So, and even I had a conversation with him offline, and he was like, Joe, man, a lot of these guys got to know that this ain't a game what I do. This ain't easy. This ain't, and I think a lot of guys, when they think about the Corso and some of these breeds, that they need to be super aggressive and things like that.
Yeah.
But in Brad's mind, the dogs, they doing a job, they doing a function. He feel like his dogs should have a clear enough head. If they don't make the cut hunting, he says the working dog or most working mentality dogs, number one thing is to please its master. So the dog should be able to fit in homes easy. When you do you see these overly aggressive dogs being bred a lot in coming through to you, Whitney?
Not usually. Not usually. A lot of what I'm seeing is fear.
Fear. Okay, fear.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause my last puppy, the one I was talking about now, like knowing body language, like I have videos, of her, coming into buildings like our gym and things like that. And I'm like, oh, she's so cute. She's following me, but her tail's tucked. I'm like, she was scared, and so it's different. When Baymax is here, he's like tail up, just looking around, happy to be here,
Yeah.
like going around
Proud, yeah.
following me for a minute, going over here, and that's just me learning, and just to kind of know what to look for because and thankfully, I had a little bit of knowledge to know like that just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
I mean, she was cute, but yeah, just those different things like that was just a fear. Looking back now and being able to have the two experiences, I think for me is great. Just so I can say, wow, that was fear. Versus, what I have now is he can be spicy. My dog's spicy enough.
Right.
Like we talk about, he's stable, he's trainable, and he's great. But he's definitely not scared.
Yeah.
Right.
A big difference. Big difference.
Yeah.
So, but Whitney, did we talk about human aggression
No,
already? Okay. So you do some work with that, right?
I did about 8 years of human aggressive dogs, and just this year I retired out of it. I'm
Okay.
done.
What is that experience like? I mean, God, dog.
Yeah. It's hard because people don't want to accept the reality of what they have. And I got to a point where last year, a couple of dogs that I had rehabbed had badly, years after the rehab, had badly bitten. And I'm like, I can't keep doing this, because what it is people, I have them in front of me, and I'm like, I'm only modifying these behaviors. That's it. Like, you have to live with your dog X, Y, Z. Like,
This is the only way you can live with your dog. Is what you're saying.
This is it. This is the only way you can live with this dog. So we would get the dogs, to a point where they weren't biting. They weren't thinking about biting, all of that. They still weren't happy-go-lucky dogs or anything like that. But we were making them safe, right? And I air quote that because you'll have a lot of people in my industry that like, oh, you can rehab the dog. You can rehab the dog. We can only rehab the dog to a certain point because you have the genetics, right? So you rehab the dog to a certain point, and that dog I might rehab that dog and send it home with you, Joe, and it might be perfectly fine. might live till it's 12 years old. Joe Church follows everything Whitney Whitaker says. Joe Church puts the dog in the crate when he has a barbecue. Joe Church doesn't let the dog out around his, kids' friends, all this stuff, right? And that dog might live for 12 years and never have another incident ever again after Whitney Whitaker rehabbed the dog. Or I may send that same exact dog home to somebody who wants to believe that the dog is fixed. Even though I said 100 times, it's not fixed. We don't fix dogs. We modify. But what will happen is the training then will be so good to a point that the owners then become relaxed. And they're like, he's not as bad as he was. He's so much better. And then they begin to have the dog out at the barbecue. They begin to let the dog be out around their, kids. And after I had those last two bad bites from clients that had previously done rehabs, I said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm sitting at my kitchen table, crying over these dogs that are being euthanized. And the one was, I never named names on anybody, but it was a little kid who got badly hurt. And I'm like, done. I don't want nothing to do with it anymore.
Right.
Because it was their compliance, the owner's compliance. You're saying, yeah.
Yeah, to a degree. It sometimes people, when I say to a degree, it just means sometimes people think they're doing their best, and their expectations or their standards aren't mine, right?
Yeah.
So
you and I have that conversation a lot too.
Yeah. They're not gonna be as dedicated as you are to getting it done. Like for instance, this is a good segue. Pam, you started Baymax in a training academy, right? Is what you told me.
Well, I took courses before I got him.
Courses, yeah, that's right.
So there are all these online courses. This is before I even met Whitney. This is actually when I had my other puppy. And in fact, the guy, if you want to name him, you can. Garrett Wing of that course actually suggested with my last puppy that I do take the puppy back if possible. But he was so used to, like Whitney, getting all of these horrible Corsos in, because he has a Corso and he's well known for his Corso. But he's like, most people don't, but if you can, I think he said, just like what Whitney said, I think you can modify this a little bit, but you have the dog you have, you don't have the dog you wanted. And so you're going to have to live with this. And for me, I'm like, I don't want to spend the next 12 years, fearing my dog basically and walking on eggshells, to be honest. And so it was him too that gave that little push, like, we can modify it, but and so that I had already taken all of those courses prior to getting Baymax. And then on my journey with Tony, I saw her name popping up and stuff, and I'm like, that's my girl. And I'm like, we're gonna be friends.
Yeah, somebody I got a A1 Concrete. I'm gonna give you a shout out, South Arkansas. I bred a dog that he sent to Garrett Wing, named Trump. He loves that dog. Dog's doing good. So then,
like his board and train, you mean?
The board and train, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the importance of mentorship, the importance of a coach. You and Whitney, hooked up.
Because I had all of that, and there's groups, and I'm still in them. There, and have that support and whatnot. But for me, number one, I just immediately clicked with Whitney. I loved her mission. I got along with her. That's important. Right? And I like that personal coach. I'm a coach by trade, and I love coaches for coaches, and I take direction well, and I take it, like she said, I take it seriously. And I wanted to have that backup to say, like, hey, am I doing everything right? Because you question yourself, especially after a bad experience. Like she could tell you, like, I would overanalyze every move of Baymax, everything.
Yeah.
Because I had that experience before, and I did not want to do it again. It was so bad on my family to take a puppy back for kids. that was horrible, and then I was kind of low-key depressed myself, and I'm like, I can't do this again. So I was just over analyzing everything. She's like, listen, you got to Scandifio Corso. First of all, that's first. Number two, the dog is great. You're doing a great job. I'm like, thank you. Like, tell me I'm doing a good job. And so we just kept on, and I'd check in with her weekly, and we do Zoom calls, stuff like that. So even though I had the foundations and the groups and all that, it was just that personal coach and that touch, and to help specifically work with Baymax. And then I ended up driving to her and spending, a couple days at her place too with Baymax.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah. I did something similar with a guy that's on this show, John Mills. He came spend a weekend with me.
I saw that.
Yeah. And that's one of the best. Oh man, it's because you can get some of the things they can correct you seeing small things that you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Drop that leash.
And she's picky with me because I want it. And she's like, listen, I know your standard of excellence. And so I'm going to nitpick. Like you were just somebody else that just was like, I just want a good dog. But I'm like, I want the best for my dog. And
then I'm like, well, then you better stop holding that leash like that.
Yes. And or saying that, or whatever it is. And going in person was just like icing on the cake. And I want to get down there again, before Christmas time. So it's kind of a thing.
Dog trainers just have it. It's just like my son and my wife are better than I am. They just they are, but dog trainers just in themselves, they can just make it happen so quickly. It seems like, and I don't know. Is it something y'all just got?
Magic.
I see what you're saying. In some ways, just because like my mom always jokes around, like you were born with a leash in your hand, kind of thing. So there might be a measure to that. But I'll tell you, my best friend and the person that runs the company with me, Danielle, she didn't have it, and was a hairdresser for a long time. And I said, hey, I really need a manager. I need a number two. I'm growing this business. You're the only person that I'll run the company with. Like, come on, Joe. She's like, I can't do that. I can't do what you do. I'm like, yeah, you can. You can do it. Like, and so I worked with her and worked with her and worked with her. And she's really good now. She's really good. So I see what you're saying, because like my niece is 16, 17, and she kennel techs here, and she came to me one day. She goes, I don't actually want to finish my plans in college. I want to be a dog trainer. And so she's like, will you just, is there a way that I can, work my way up and be a dog trainer? I said, absolutely. Because the kid has it. Like she has that natural, and she's young. I said, yep, you just keep kennel teching, and over all these, years to come, I'm going to keep building that with you. So yes and no. I think there are some people just have a knack for it and it comes easy, while I think other people might have to work at it a little bit. Can definitely get it.
Right. Okay. So with that being said, this is going to be a very interesting show. Trainer, new owner with crazy drive.
Pam was a dog breed. She'd be a Malinois, I think.
Boy,
she's
for
just
real.
driven.
Let's talk a little bit about that. You're a fitness coach. You done did the what do you call it when you get up on the stage?
Bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding.
So I spent the majority. I spent almost all of my 20s. I wasn't at the bar. I was like at the gym instead. I competed my entire 20s, a decade on that stage, and then I was an NPC bodybuilding coach or judge. So I judged competitions. I actually just quit that this year because I got a dog and I needed to dedicate more time.
But along your way, I mean, both of you young ladies are very successful. But Pam, you had some adversity, some comeback stories as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, as far as like for my competing and stuff.
Yeah.
I had some injuries, hip injury that kind of took me out, basically stopped my bodybuilding career, and some surgeries and all of that. And then I, as they do, you gain a bunch of weight and then I had some issues, getting pregnant and things like that, because of that. And so, I spent a lot of time, kind of healing my body. And then, coming back and doing all that naturally and have 2 beautiful babies and and a marriage and stuff like that.
Right.
So it all works out.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I'm really looking forward to this because I think y'all gonna bring a new angle to this thing. You know what I mean?
I hope so. And I keep telling Pam too, because Pam, she keeps using that word just. She's just saying all the time, like just, and I'm just a dog owner. And I said, Pam, but you don't realize that there's so many professionals that have dog training podcasts and so many professionals that have dog training pages. You bring this angle of like, learn with me.
Yeah.
And even like sometimes I'll be talking, and we all do it in our industries, whatever our industries might be. And sometimes I'll be talking and I might use like a dog training term. Pam's great about saying, so what does that mean? Right.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'll break it down. And so I think, that's something I'm so excited about, is to have her on the front line, helping dog owners. Again, that's my mission. Let's help average dog owners pick good puppies, find good breeders, not fall into misinformation, help them understand what to do from the start, what not to do. And Pam's there to say, oh yeah, I actually just made that mistake 2 months ago. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Right. And
Right.
I've been even telling a lot of my clients, like, hey, go follow Pam's journey, go follow Pam's page. Because you'll get to see the triumphs and the mistakes of an average dog owner.
Yes,
Go
right.
follow her. And a lot of my clients have been doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
No.
at the end of the day, it's about practicality. We could talk about all these hog hunting dogs, all this, but the number one, the number one person or persons that dogs go to are family homes.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would say, like I talked about on the podcast last time, like the bulk of the people are your average dog owners, like you said, and
Right.
and we are the people that need to feel confident in our training journey and to understand that, like, a dog can be part of your whole family and do all kinds of fun things. But there has to be this level of training and understanding and really understanding the dog. And that's, I think, one of the best things that I get from Whitney is just really kind of understanding the dog and body language and really just kind of paying attention to these little cues. Like you said, as dog trainers, I think you've just kind of been around dogs enough to say, well, that, like, I asked her a question the other day, and I'll be wrong all the time, and my husband, I think he's like you, Joe, where he isn't bad at dog training, but he's not great at it because he just wants the dog to be trained.
That's right.
And so
Yeah, I'm good at it. Hey, yo.
yeah.
Get in
It's
his
like,
pen.
he's like, here. Well, he's not coming, and for me, I'm like, oh no, he better listen to me. So anyhow, he did something correctly, and I was so excited to tell my husband, like, hey, no, you actually handled that correctly, and I got it wrong. So I love to come to Whitney with those little tiny situations that, I may make a big deal and my husband's like, it's not a big deal, and so I don't know, it's just a real fun little dance that we got going on with that. And I do pride myself on being extremely vulnerable and just welcoming everybody. Like, there's just so much hate. And I'm like, what is the problem? Like, these are literally dogs.
Right.
Like, like, they don't care,
Right.
like you and I talk about, they don't have an ego and they're not telling their dog friend down the road that their owner called them 5 times and they didn't come. They could care less.
Right.
And it's just so many people put so much of their, I guess so much of who they are into their dogs, and they just all carried away. And I'm just like, yeah, it's just coffee, chill out. We can all be friends and love our dogs.
Right.
Yeah,
And to your point, Pam, too, like, again, one of the things that we love so much about Tony is he doesn't gatekeep. He wants to help. He's like, okay, if you want to breed, let me help you set your kennel up. Let me give you mentorship. Like, you come to Tony and you're humble and you're like, teach me. I want to learn. Tony's like, yeah, like, take notes.
Yep.
There's no gatekeeping there. For me as a dog trainer, I'm like, you want to be a dog trainer, Joe? Come out here, come mentor with me. Let's come shadow with me for a week. Let's do FaceTimes. Let's, I'll hook you up with some other dog trainers. And there should be no gatekeeping that way. And to Pam's point, like, be kind, be nice, be welcoming, help people, because most people, like for me and as a dog trainer, most people didn't mean to wreck their dog. Their dog might come to me wrecked, but we can usually get it back on track and get it to stop getting in the trash and all these things, right? Most people didn't mean for it to get to that point. Most people didn't mean to go and buy a dog from a crummy breeder who didn't know what they were doing. Or how many times have people told me, well, I just bought the dog because my heart couldn't even leave it there and the environment that it was in, right? So most people, like Pam always says, their heart's in the right place usually. Yeah. And, I just want to help those people. Okay, well, here's where you're at. Okay. You got a puppy from a place that, shouldn't have been breeding dogs. Okay. If it's workable, let's work it, Yeah.
That's crazy important what you just said, because like, if you got people of Tony's stature, a lot of our bigger, older breeders, and then it's resources in there too. Like it's a young lady that's in the show world that helped me a lot. Robin Salisaberry, I think that's her name. Robin, different people like that, enthusiasts that can get you the help. And but if people were more welcoming and say they wanted to be a trainer, they came up under you, and then they found out it ain't a good fit, at least they came to you, or if they want to be a breeder and they figured out, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But at least they would have been on the right track. But I've seen comments in my under some of these shows where like, man, I listened to a couple shows, and guess what? I don't want to breed dogs.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
Oh,
That's
you don't
right.
get vacations very much. Oh, no. Yeah,
And that even goes with the breeds too, right? Like, there's certain things you got to look at with different breeds. And like, you're going to get this big old dog. Like, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to have a year to train that dog? Who's going to watch the dog? There's all these things that other people don't think about. And to your point too, Joe, is that was my main thing. Is I found I was so blessed to have, I guess I gravitate towards the people that are welcoming anyway and don't mind my energy. But I was just very blessed to have, a very small handful of people to be welcoming to me in this. And, April, I have to shout her out a little bit too. She'll probably come on one of our shows. She has Orso.
Yeah. Who's April? Call out their names, the folks that's helping in the community.
April, I can't remember her last name. She's like, Wall. Yep, it's like hyphenated on Facebook.
I think I'm friends with her.
Yeah, she's great. I think you are too. And she was one of the first like welcoming people in a Corso group to me. And she from the other puppy too. And she was just very like forthcoming with like Corso information and very like, she's just like us. Like I get everybody just be nice, we all have parts of our dogs that suck, and they all like some parts of our dogs are awesome, but anyway, I just feel like there needs to be a more welcoming space. And, to your point too, Whitney, with Tony, it's dogs and fitness just go hand in hand. They're just very similar, with confidence and with the consistency and the training and the breeding and the egos and all the things. So it just was easy for me to just talk about and be in, because it just felt like home. Just dog, less focus on myself. And with Tony, he can't breed all the dogs, so he's like, yeah, you want to breed? Great. I want to help you. I want to help you do it right. Because, like Whitney always says, there's a dog born every day. Yeah. He can't help everybody, but I think our mission is to make sure that he has his own voice. And,
thank you.
Yes. Yeah,
I've been tired of these suckers out here using our names.
yes. Like, and hopefully it will maybe weed out some of the people. This is my thinking that will weed out some of the people that may have been on the edge. Like, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. Maybe they got a little, a little bit of, kindness. And well, I probably shouldn't say that. Now he's out. Now I can't really say anything, and really just kind of hopefully split that and just bring more of a welcoming community.
That's what's up. All right. Well, ladies, I appreciate y'all being here, but I want to, if people want to contact you, how do they contact? They're going to contact you too. I'm sorry.
Well, that's good. We want to help.
All right.
Yeah.
So Pam, you want to start how to contact you?
Yeah, for me, you can look up Baymax. He's actually, and that's one thing too, is like, it was so funny. I wish I could have had him on camera. You guys probably can't see him, but for a minute there, Joe, he only heard your voice and he dropped his treat and he was like,
I think I heard that voice before.
well, he's like, there's some dude in here, and like, and so, but he's actually really calm right now. Like he just falls asleep once I just ignore him. Like that's something Whitney has helped me along with, like just to teach him. Anyway, find Baymax. You can find me, my name, Instagram, Facebook, and then you'll find the K9 Academy too.
Yeah.
Okay, Whitney, how do we contact you?
Yeah. So the company name is Milligan Valley K9 Academy. Milligan Valley K9 Academy. We're on Instagram, and we have a business Facebook page, but you can also just find me on Facebook under Whitney Whitaker. And then, of course, Pam and I are going to be pumping out some stuff on the K9 Academy, then with Tony.
Yeah.
And Milligan Valley, we do have a YouTube channel. It's not the greatest, but there's some stuff on there. There's a few things on there.
All right, cool.
And I will say Tony's excited right now. So it's so nice to see because I think he feels like, yes, like finally. We don't want anything from him. Literally, we just, none of us do. None of us three.
Right.
We want to just help build that nice community that we all crave.
Right.
And
then,
I'm
sorry, Ms. Pam. Another thing about these dogs is you hear this word couch potato a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times these dogs are couch potatoes because you made them couch potatoes. Ain't nobody bred couch potatoes.
Right.
You made them that.
Yeah. Right.
100%.
What the owners did with them. Now, don't put it on them. Yeah.
Don't put it on the breeder.
I was moving and grooving.
Right.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I said this the other day to Tony when we talked about that. And I said, well, you can ask the refrigerator guys that delivered my refrigerator if he's a couch potato.
Right.
Because I guarantee they will never come to my home. And he's only 8 months old,
Right.
And he was behaving, but he was grumbling away. He was not happy. I'm like, so definitely he's chill, but it's not a couch potato.
So excited for Tony to have a voice and a platform, to be able to educate average dog owners, to be able to keep all of us who want to be students forever on the breed, keep educating us. And I can tell you this, the nonsense that I've seen online about that man is nowhere close to being what I know from him being a personal friend of mine now. And I'm quite frankly sick of seeing that. And I'm so glad now that he has a space where he can come and he can speak his truth, because that is needed.
That's I'm glad you said there's a lot of personal beef, stupidity in dogs, a lot of game plan. And one day, we're going to turn the table over on them. So if it's about dogs, leave it on dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've inquired my quite a bit of silliness since I've been doing this podcast. All kind of silliness. I could do a documentary on it.
Yeah, but Joe, but that's why we love you though, because you will laugh that off and you're not going to take it personal, and you just don't have it on anymore, and you're like, well, guess that didn't work out.
Sometimes it mentally does mess with you. It's been time I had to take a break. I'm like, well, and then but now it's like it's become comical. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it really is sometimes.
I can get my phone and let you hear voicemails. Me and my kids be like, "Wait, this dude, who is this dude? This dude's crazy." So
That's
but
funny.
the thing about it is, doing what I do, doing what y'all about to do when you have guests. The human nature of the just human nature period of people in every industry. Pam, I'm pretty sure you got some people probably you don't line up with.
Yeah,
When you have a guest, they're gonna bring their friends, and they will bring their enemies, and you will inherit some of them.
You know, I've said that before. Like, that's not up to me to decide whether somebody likes me or not.
That's right.
You know, and at the end of the day, I do believe, I think we all here do. We all have very tolerant spirits, and everybody can believe what they want, and we all believe the same. You know, and we're all here to talk about dogs.
That's right.
You know, and so I don't know. I guess I just kind of view the world that way. And it is kind of comical. Whitney, we're going to lighten her up a little bit. She's she's always serious and she doesn't always get the jokes.
No.
I thought Whitney was kind of on the quiet side. I read her wrong.
Yeah. No, I got stuff to say. I'm serious all the time.
Yeah.
I'm that person in the room that like everybody's making jokes and I'm like, I'm lost.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Y'all got that yin yang spirit.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. All right, ladies. Well, I appreciate y'all coming. Much success to you too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
We just love you so much.
We appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we out. Y'all go check them out.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you.